On this podcast, I speak mostly to competitive, driven, passionate runners. And while we're really good at making goals for ourselves and chasing those goals with dedication and relentlessness, something we're not always so good at is being generous. I wanted to talk about this today because including generosity more intentionally into my life is something that I'm actually trying to make a real habit out of. I was inspired by a recent podcast by Vincent Pugliese, who runs the great Total Life Freedom podcast, all about self employment, entrepreneurship, and creating a life that you love, where he talked about this concept of the hour of giving, where the first hour of every workday, he simply tries to be generous to others. That could be connecting two different people who need to meet. It could be sharing somebody's content. It could be leaving a review for someone who has helped him in the past, sending a thank you note to somebody who has helped him in the past, or just helping somebody however he can. And the idea is that the more you help other people with no expectation of getting anything in return, not only does it make you feel good and it's a great way to start off your day, over the long term, it's going to be a fantastic way to build relationships, improve your network, and really just be viewed in a positive light amongst all those who are in your world. But it's not meant to be something that you do just to get that back in return. It's clearly a very slow process. Generosity for its own sake is truly a virtue. It's never something I've been particularly good with. And I think in the running community itself, there are aspects of the community that are particularly generous. But when we start thinking about training for marathons, chasing BQs, it does require a lot of selfishness to accomplish those goals. And that is okay. I mean, to dedicate so much to your own ability and efforts, it takes a lot to accomplish big goals. I coach a lot of athletes who do want to qualify for the Boston Marathon. That is not something to be taken lightly. It requires focus and dedication for years. And to think that you could just do it, pick it up, and within a year or so of running, you'd be able to BQ, unless you're particularly talented or incredibly focused on it for a short amount of time. It's more of a long term goal. And I know we want to try hard, and I certainly do too, and we want to become our best. But I think it's so important in our lives to be generous and not just be so self centered. I've certainly been victim to this at times, but I've thought of 5 different ways that you can be more generous while also pursuing your own personal running goals. What I've learned while spending several years being a running coach and for adult athletes and now getting started doing this with the high school athletes is the team environment, the uplifting of others, the supporting of others is the most powerful thing that I've come across in running. Working as a team and helping others achieve their goals while I simultaneously do the same is far more powerful than when I'm just working on them on my own. And the joy that I get from helping others and seeing them reach their goals is really more impactful than when I reach my own. So, here are 5 different ways that you can be a little bit more generous to your running community. So, the first thing is become a regular in a running club. Now, almost every city or town has a running club. It's a great way to meet new people and to potentially make some great new friends. when I lived in Boston, I was a member of the Heartbreak Hill Running Company, and I've would go to their events. Some of them were workouts, many of them were more social, and I made a lot of acquaintances. Many of them I still am in touch with today. Um, I would say most of them, unfortunately, never really moved beyond the acquaintance stage. A few of them did become good friends, though. And I think that if I did more of these things that I'm going to go into, more of them would move into that friend level. I came to the realization somewhat recently that I have many acquaintances, but not as many true friends. And by being generous, this is something I think that we can really move from just knowing people to actually having them be true friends, which is tough when you're an adult. So the second thing is, reach out to the people that you meet, whether that's in your run club or in your running world, and ask them to run with you together. So there's two different ways to do this. It could be to work out together, or it could just be to go for an easy run. So the second thing is to work out together. Now, this doesn't necessarily need to be somebody who's your exact training pace or training for the exact same thing that you're doing. I think runners often get caught up when they're following a training plan or working with a coach that they need to do exactly what's on their plan, and they can't do any other workout, and they can only run with other people who are doing that same thing. Plans are just that, a plan, but it can be deviated from. It's really just a guide. If you have a tempo workout, you can modify that and make it a different type of tempo workout. If it's an interval workout, it can be a different type of interval workout. Two different people of different abilities can come together and do the same style of workout in the same location, even if they have drastically different abilities. And you can share that experience with the other person together. Working out with other people, for me, is generally much easier. And I think for most people, they enjoy it as well. The other thing is, this is number three, is you probably know some people who you run with, or maybe don't run with them because you think that they're slower than you, and you're worried that by running with them, you're not going to be getting the best training that you could. Forget about that. One of the best things you can do is to just slow yourself down on your easy days and any short recovery days between your workouts. The only thing that matters in your training in terms of speed is hitting your paces and intensity levels in workouts in races. On the easy days, all that matters is your volume. So how many miles you're covering, how much time you're spending. Your pace is not a factor. In general, going slower is going to be better. So reach out to a friend who's a little bit slower than you and ask them to hang out. I think they'll be very happy and honestly surprised that you reached out to them for a run. So do it. The fourth thing is, don't just take from the running community, but give back to it as well. Volunteer for an event or support another runner you know on their big day. Race directors, clubs, running shops, other small businesses that operate in the running world, we're always looking for support for people who can help us out with our events, whether that's promotion or the operation. It's so impactful for you to help out and help out the people running these events. And we definitely need it. It's a great way to build a connection that can last a long time and it won't go unnoticed. And I think you'll find it's really fun and a different way to interact with the running community. If you have a friend who's gearing up for something like a marathon that they've been practicing for, training for months, How can you support them on their big day? Reach out to them and ask. Just say, "Hey, I wanna help you. Is there anything I can do? Can I be there?" See what they say. And then the fifth and last thing I wanna share about how to be a bit more generous in the running community is invite your running friends to do something that's other than just running. And ultimately, I think this is the biggest thing that's gonna move the needle from you having mere acquaintances in the running world and training partners to true friends. If you can invite the people you run with or know from a run club, maybe over to your house for a cookout or out to see a movie or to go on a hike or go to the beach or just to hang out. That's how you move from just running with this person and just feeling like you're using them for their running to actually becoming true friends that could last years, decades, or a lifetime. So those are my 5 ways that you can be a bit more generous and a little less selfish and help grow your network and make more friends in the running community. These are all things I'm trying to do. And if you feel like maybe you haven't been doing these things and aren't getting the connections you want to make out of the running community, I'd encourage you to think about how you can incorporate these a bit more as well into your own life. One action I'd love for you to take after listening to this podcast is think of someone who's helped you in the past with your running. This could be a friend, a coach, a running store, a chiropractor, a physio, a PT, a teammate. Do something generous for them right now with no expectation of any return. If they're a business owner, leave them a review. If they're a content creator, share their content. If they're just a friend, send them a nice thank you message and let them know how meaningful it was to you when they helped you out that one time. It's actually quite rare that anyone ever gets a positive message like this, and it's really going to brighten their day. That's all I got for you today. Take care. Bye.